on my birthday, April 10th, out of the blue, happy birthday, Suzanne. I care about you a lot, you know. And I was like, what? And I said, so then I said, then show up and stop lying, stop hiding. And then I said, I wonder if you're okay. I have heard about these compounds that lock people up if they don't meet their quotas and they get beat up bad. I would never want that to happen to you ever. People get trafficked, they lose their passports, everything gets taken away. It's heartbreaking. And it makes me wonder if you were under that kind of pressure. What if the best chapter of your life hasn't even begun yet? What lies within you is the power to live brighter, bolder, and truer than ever before. So welcome to Vivatude, where caregiving, connections, and career come into balance, and where your vitality, vision, and voice shines through. Because the revolution isn't out there, it's already within you. Welcome to Vivatude.
And welcome back to Vivatude. We are talking with Suzanne Newman today about her very personal story, having been through emotional trauma and then having been courted online and the resulting scam that took place. Suzanne called it out, found out about it, but just like in life, there are people out there that are going to try to manipulate you.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you respond? So I
Mm-hmm.
invite Suzanne to share what she ultimately did and how she healed from this experience. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Suzanne, gonna give us some input
Some
on
some
this.
things. Well, first of all, whenever anybody is manipulated like that, we have a choice on what we do with that. And I'm very lucky in the fact that I have done a lot of personal work on myself, but I'm also a very spiritual person. And I'm very, connected to a lot of teachings by Emma Curtis Hopkins, who those of you in the New Thought world probably know of Emma, but she was a mystic years ago. But I'm paraphrasing. But one of the things that Emma has said is when adversity touches your life, call out and give thanks to God. Because it is not that the adversity has been chosen for you. Please know that. It's about the fact that when we're in these times, we're given the greatest opportunity to gain seeds of wisdom. We can learn in our world about things. We're more open to receiving that lesson if we allow ourselves to be. And so you know I read a lot of Emma, and I read her over and over again. She's definitely my symbols, right? And it's funny because I go on AI all the time, and I'll say, I need an Emma quote for this is how I'm feeling. And because it does, AI knows so much, I get a lot of stuff from that. But the thing was that I really started to see that those 2 months as a gift to me, as difficult as that is, because it was so fake on that side. But on my side, was able to do a lot of healing. I felt seen for the first time in 15 years. Lauren. And when we look at all of a sudden, you feel seen, you feel cared about, you all of a sudden start to realize, what I am doing is making a difference. You start to believe in yourself again. And remember, in the world of Tony Robbins, life is nothing but a mirror of your consistent thoughts, right?
Mhm.
So now I look at the fact that those 2 months, in many ways, were a gift to me because I was able to mirror back a positive thing to me. And that was something I needed at the time. And I was devastated at the loss of a dream. So I had a choice. I could be jaded. I could say, I'm never going to trust anybody ever again. I could be in a situation where I was, completely devoid of everything, in my life. But the thing is the only person that I would be hurting would be myself, right? And
Absolutely.
and the thing is that I started to realize once I got into that space, I started to realize what a miserable person or people that they are on the other side. I can't imagine waking up every day looking at myself in the mirror knowing that I'm out there to screw with people and
Hmm.
hurt people. And
Yeah.
that to me tells me how just completely devoid of esteem or pride or anything that happens that way. And with that, I realized that, at that point I felt like I wanted to reach out to him after, and this was like probably a month and a half later after I'd blocked him. And this is around probably early April. And I said to him that I believe in a path to redemption. And I'm going to read the text that I sent to him because again, we talked about what is the what is going on in Cambodia? Who are these people? A lot of these people are trafficked. And so I think about that. So this is what I wrote him. I had said something about, or he said something to me. I've told you many times, Suzanne, this is the real me, but you never believe me, and it gives me a headache. But I want to continue developing a relationship with you. And I said, until I can see your face, I've been educated, Robert. It's really sad for me because I cared a great deal about you too. But situations as they have evolved have shown me evidence that shows me otherwise. Robert, whether it was real or not, you were the only person in the last 6 months who has ever shown any real caring towards me. And that's a difficult for me right now. I have been having a difficult time with everything. So it's not just about you, it's about me. And so that was it. That was it. And then on my birthday, April 10th, out of the blue, happy birthday, Suzanne. I care about you a lot. And I was like, what? And I said, so then I said, then show up and stop lying. Stop hiding. And then I said, I wonder if you're okay. I have heard about these compounds that a lot of people up there that lock people up if they don't meet their quotas and they get beat up bad. I would never want that to happen to you ever. People get trafficked, they lose their passports, everything gets taken away. It's heartbreaking. And it makes me wonder if you were under that kind of pressure. And if you are, how on earth could I help you? Because I don't even have any idea who you are. All I have are text messages, and they could come from anywhere. And he says, thank you. I'm not in a place like that. I'm doing well. So now all of a sudden he realizes the gig is up, right? But he
Mhm.
realizes that somebody is showing him compassion. And so I said, so how many women do you talk to? I was just curious. It's okay. You can be straight with me. He says, you're the only person or woman I'm talking to. And I said, yeah, I wish I believed that. Remember, I saw another profile on a dating site that had your exact same story, by the way, and his name was Robert too. So it's likely a profile that you guys, that's in your database that you guys created. So if
Mhm.
you, and he goes, well, Suzanne, if you don't trust me, I don't want to argue with you about anything. I said, I don't want to argue either, Robert. I just wish you were real. But since I'd never seen you and we've never really talked except for a couple of phone calls, I don't know who you are. And by the way, so this is where I got a little cocky. Where's your house in Medina? He said he lived in Medina in Bellevue. And he
Mhm.
goes, good night. I'm very tired today. I hope you can go to bed early. And I go, yeah, I figured that would get you to stop talking to me. I am not going to block you again. I care about the person or persons who kept me going for those months. And that was the piece where I said, I do care about the devastation that their souls must be in. I do care about that. I care about the fact that there are people out there that are that sad
Mhm.
that have to live that. His response was, thank you. You're a great person. I don't deserve you. And I said, well, I do believe in a path to redemption, Robert. I really do. I know there is goodness inside of you, kindness and caring. And yes, I am a good person with a very big heart, but you already knew that. And he said, well, I really appreciate you saying that because you're also a kind person, and I will always try to find better ways to prove to you that I'm a real person. And I went, well, the best ways are to show up. As they say, 99% of success is showing up. Imagine that. I am not angry with you. I feel sad for you. I don't believe in a lot of the things that you've told me, but I know that's the way we got started. And trust me, what I wouldn't give to be proven wrong, to find out that you're a real person that you told me. And he goes, and so then he goes into another like side sad story, right? And so that was how it was ended. And I said, I'm not going to block you. I believe that there is a way to redemption. And he goes, well, I'm sorry that I made you feel sad, but I think you weren't really listening to my explanation at the time, and all these things. And I said, there's nothing to explain, Robert. There is a saying that if it looks like a duck and talks like a duck, it probably is a duck. Too many things about you don't add up. And I needed to face reality. And that's it. So that was how it was left. And the fact is I have unblocked him only because I believe in a path to redemption. And maybe someday he will tell me the truth. He will tell me what happened. I mean, tell me who he is or they are. But in the
Mhm.
meantime, I've moved on. And I think right now, betrayal can only you can only be a victim if you let yourself wallow in it. There's a saying by Abraham Lincoln that says it's never a disgrace to fall in the mud. The disgrace is when you lie there and squeal like a pig.
Oh,
And that's the thing. It's like I'm fine. I am educated. I am willing to help anybody that's in this situation, but pay attention. And I would love to kind of talk to you a little bit about what I'm learning about what goes on and how you can spot people pretty quickly.
yeah, that was going to be my next question. First of all, I want to acknowledge your heart, your wisdom, your ability to take the high road and not having your heart by
Uh-oh.
that. It was a beautiful protect yourself to keep
Yeah.
your heart open, for other people, but to really keep your heart open for yourself and keep those healthy boundaries in place. So,
Hmm.
what would
Hmm.
your advice be to other people that either have found themselves in this
Hmm.
situation or might be dancing on the edge of it?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, first and foremost, my loss, financial loss, wasn't anywhere near what other people have lost, and that's tragic. Um, but first of all, my advice is never give money or do any investment from anybody that you don't know personally, that you're not sitting in, that's not qualified, that is not in a situation that
Hmm.
was like insane for me to do that. And it was because of the emotional piece that I was in. Now that Suzanne that I am today, now that I've gone through it, I've found much more of my rhythm, found much more of my confidence. But I did that because I chose to let it go. And that's part of, again, this is a spiritual issue because I truly believe if you don't forgive people, all we're doing is holding that issue and it's tarnishing ourselves. We don't have to wear that like a cross. We can
Right.
learn from it and let it go and let it go to the universe. Let it be, you know, something that's a lesson. Find the wisdom in it, right? As Emma talks about. And that's what I've chosen to do. I have chosen to say in my world that I don't have to have that as a weight around my neck. I don't have to live like that. And yes, I was gullible. But you know what? I would far rather be gullible and have an open heart than live like them.
Hmm.
And
That's
that's where my compassion goes. I feel like what a sorry life, and you only get one life to live. So learn to forgive. And the other thing is that, in the point three is get educated. Realize that there's all kinds of people out there. Um, and I just say step into your common sense corner. I will tell you a great big tool that I've used. And that is if I see something that just doesn't look right, like I've perused dating sites a little bit now, just a little bit.
Mhm.
And I'll take a profile and I'll post it into Chat GPT, into AI, and I'll say, "What do you think?" And they'll go, "Scammer, scammer, scammer. This is why. These are the things. This is a typical thing." And because a lot of this stuff is boilerplate that they write
Mhm.
in profiles, um, Chat GPT, it can be your best friend because you can post in, "Oh yeah, that's in 24 profiles in your area right now."
Yes, yes.
That
Great
same thing.
tool.
So there's
Yeah.
a lot of ways you can do it. The other thing is take the pictures that you're seeing, do a Google Lens search on those images, see who they are. Google that person's name. Especially if they say that they're in, like Robert said he was in medical sales, right? And he did sold lab equipment to hospitals. Okay, ask these people, "Oh, really? What hospitals do you sell to?" It's
Hmm.
really easy to check people out that way. There's a
Hmm.
lot of ways that you can ask proper questions. And then finally, the thing is be demanding to meet somebody soon. I would say right now, don't let them hang on to you for text messages or whatever. And these are things like if you're meeting somebody online, make sure that you're zooming with them, that you're seeing that real person on the other line, and ask them about where do you go? What are places that you like? Like he lived in Medina, and one of the things I said is, "What restaurants do you like in your area?" And I just said that because I was thinking, oh, we could. I framed it. This is when I was finding out. Oh, I don't go anywhere. That's a red flag like you can't believe. If they don't go anywhere, come on. You live in
Right.
Medina and you don't go anywhere. This doesn't make any sense to me. So
Hmm.
these are all common sense things that people will do and say, and to find those ways in which you can just put your thinking cap on, be mindful, but there are ways to smoke them out. And now it's kind of a game to me now is to see, if somebody's a scammer or not.
Yeah. Well, and I think that a lot of what you've shared, it's not, I mean, yes, the pig butchering scams, they are very sophisticated.
They
But
are.
there's also emotional abuse that happens. And what you
Mhm.
shared about someone, I've heard the phrase love bombing, right? He was
Yeah.
kind of love bombing you
Yeah.
and giving you all kinds of validation that you were lacking. And so I think people should be cautious of that
Yeah,
as well. What do you think?
absolutely. Future pacing without any foundation is like it's such a total red flag. There's one thing, I have a wonderful friend that I have a great spiritual connection with, but we're not like we're not dating. We're not doing this. We're just friends. We are connected on a spiritual realm. But that doesn't mean, I mean, this person is real. I Zoom with this person.
Mhm.
We talk about real things. This person's on
Mhm.
LinkedIn. This person
Mhm.
does, he works for Meta. So, those are things that all can be tested, that they can be checked out, right? Those
Yes,
are
yes.
things, those are the important pieces with all of this. And in those things is I'm not saying not to connect with people online. That's the real world, right? But
Right.
just be mindful of the types of manipulation that goes out there. And that's really what I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. This has been such valuable advice. And I love how you took a situation that, there was some hurt there It was,
There
you went
was.
through a tough time, but you really turned it into something beautiful. And by sharing it
Hmm.
in this on this platform, you are really extending the gift to anyone who has questions about it or who may have
And
become involved.
absolutely, it's like I'm going to ask Mike to put my email and my phone number in the show notes because if anybody is concerned or they're not quite sure and they just need to clear it out, clear their mind about this, I'm more than willing to help them in that realm because I know how that feels, and I got you, people.
Awesome. Suzanne Newman, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for your vision of
Thank you, Lauren, for
creating.
holding the spiritual space. And I can't believe I got through the whole thing.
Well, and we want to hear from you. So if this show touched you in some way, or if you've got a story to share, please feel free to leave a note in the comments. We read every single one, and our platform, Vivatude, is here to support you in all the different pillars of wellness. Thank you so much for being part of this.
And thanks for listening to Vivatude. 4 hosts, one each week. We help you revivitude your next chapter because purpose, passion, and prosperity isn't out there. They're already within you. Brighter, bolder, truer. Vivatude.